To give you an idea why we need these points of reference, for instance, at one time a clairvoyant was called by his friend who was out at sea in a motorboat and said that his motorboat stopped and he couldn't find the trouble, couldn't get it started. He called him by radio, sea to shore radio. And this clairvoyant said, let me concentrate and see if I can help you. Then he gets into his mental dimension, meaning this level, meaning the alpha dimension, and project it to the situation. He said, I find there's a little pipe coming down under from the carburetor. That pipe has a very light break in it. It is seeking or seeping air through there. You get yourself some tape and cover it completely for about 4 inches. Several coats of tape will do it. That's what he did. The motor started and came home and said, you were right. Notice here, we could have as many people in the class, and we could have each one give you a different bit of information on each metal. Different color of light, none agree that it's the same thing, a different whatever it is, smell or whatever, odors inside the metal, whatever metal that piece of steel might be, stainless steel or copper or whatever. They don't have to agree, but each one has its own point of reference. In the physical, for instance, it is said that we don't see the same color, all of us. You say in general it's red, but what is it's greenish, a little green in the red. Others might say it's a little yellowish or a little bluish, and it's still red, you see, in general, it's color red, but with a slight tint or hue of a different shade of color. We may not all agree the color red we're actually seeing. We might see it different, but it's still red in generalities. To give you an idea, one time a professor of Texas Tech University, a woman professor, took our training, and she said she made a big mistake when she went home. There was a party there and other professors from the university there, and she told them what she had learned, and they made fun of her. You mean they fooled you? You mean you can tell me what? Oh, that's a lot of nonsense, projecting into metals and all this stuff, She was so journalistic. She says, by gosh, she called me, Silva, next week, would you come over and help me set up a project and prove to these people this can happen? She said, be glad to. So 2 weeks later, she set up a meeting where she had cookies and coffee for these professors, and the project was that we were going to turn on the whole thing so she could demonstrate what she's able of doing. Now, what did we do? We selected 5 pieces of metal of each one, 5 stainless steel, 5 coppers, 5 pieces of lead, and 5 of brass. And they were cubes, they were cubes actually. So we wrapped them in paper, we scrambled them all over, and we took one at a time and put a number on it, from 1 to 25, or whatever number we had, you see. 1 to 20, whatever number, up to the highest. So we had 5 brass, 5 stainless steel, 5 lead, and 5 copper. So we had actually 20 pieces. So we counted from 1 to 20. And wrapped in paper, nobody knew what we had done because we scrambled them later, and we don't know what we marked. So they would put them in a box, everybody sat around, and she said, you guys have been making fun of me, that this is a lot of nonsense. I want to see if I can do this for you right now. So we put the wrapped pieces of cubes, metals, inside a box. And she went to her level and picked one out from the box. They held it between her thumb and her forefinger like this. And she said, I'm going inside the metal. Okay, the top part, because we also color the size like we do dyes, red, green, and so on each color. And she said, this metal is stainless steel. The top color is blue. So we took it as she said it down, took the number down, and she said, top color blue. Laid it down, top color blue, and marked it on there. She came out with 20 of them. She didn't miss a single one. We mean that if you make a mistake because you did not know any better, that does not keep you from suffering. You make a mistake, it's tough on you because you're going to suffer for it, which means ignorance does not exempt us from suffering. Regardless who you are, there are laws here that don't care who you are. If you make the mistake, you're going to suffer for it. So how can you prevent it? By knowledge. Know-how is what we need to keep us from suffering. And usually, we're doing the wrong thing and moving in the wrong direction because we do not know any better. If we knew better, we wouldn't hurt creation. We wouldn't hurt God's creation. We wouldn't sin, in other words. In religion, when you hurt God's creation, or including his creatures, of course, you are sinning. Anytime you go against so-called God, you sin. Now, when you go in favor of God, I mean, this is what everybody wants, this is what God wants, it is said, you're on the right track. So that means morals do not work anymore. We don't go by morals, because civilizations, some have developed a set of morals that are completely different from another civilization or some other culture. So here we say we don't need to go by morals to know what's right and what's wrong. What is right, to be constructive and creative and to alleviate suffering, correct problems. Now the opposite of that, destruction and creation of problems and causing suffering is wrong. I mean, you can't go wrong on this. I mean, the old golden rule, you know, do unto others what you would like to have others do unto you is correct. Or don't do unto others what you don't like to have done unto you. I mean, that's it right there. First, think about what you're going to do. Is it helping or you're hurting? Then you know what to do. Don't hurt, help. And that's it. Simple as that. Well, this is why I go against the concept of the IQ factor, the tests for the IQ factor. I don't go for accumulation of knowledge. I go for applied knowledge. I mean, how many problems can you solve? It's how intelligent you are. I mean, I don't care how many doctorate degrees you have. If you're not solving any problems, you don't have intelligence, period. You have it stored within you, but you're not using it. And the intelligence is not only to be stored, meaning information, not only to be stored, but to be applied. And knowledge is knowledge, intelligence, information. It's not only to be applied, but to be applied in the correct direction. And what is the correct direction for the application of knowledge accumulated by intelligence? In the solution of problems. That's the correct application for information accumulated with knowledge or by intelligence. We select the most common pieces of metal in class, types of metal. The most common, the most worked with, and so forth. Now, but if I was a gold mine digger or whatever, then I would like to practice with gold then, because I would like to find gold. Project into the earth as deep as I want to go. Maybe I would find the gold vein in case of a gold mine that's lost its vein or whatever. Or maybe I'll find how deep in quality it is. I mean, this in research practices is very interesting, because we have done quite a bit of practice here, and we have found it to work. And if only people would become aware of what could be done with their minds, they wouldn't let one single more day go by without developing more of their minds. We are enhancing our intuitive factor. That's what it's called. And sometimes it's called the psi factor, PSI factor. It's like enhancing the IQ factor. Here we are enhancing all of them when you enhance the use of the right brain hemisphere. I would suggest first practice imagination in projection to metals, then into plants, which is the next higher step in the hierarchy of intelligence, plant cell life, to project into trees, to leaves, into fruit mentally. It's a different kingdom, different world. So you want to project into a leaf, for instance, and want to look inside the leaf and see what it feels like, using your imagination, mind you. You see, people have not been using their imagination. Now, what am I going to do when I get inside the leaf? Well, just make believe, when you have connected to the right brain hemisphere, make believe that you have entered and projected into a leaf. Now, make believe you're there. Now, make believe that you're using your sense of sight. What do you expect to detect with a sense of sight? Whatever comes to your mind, that's it. You are analyzing the leaf from within. Now, later, you can analyze other leaves from within and find out what kind of leaf you're dealing with. If you're a farmer, cultivating different kinds of plants or whatever, crossing them or getting better plants out of your soil or whatever to produce more harvest and increase your harvest and so on. I mean, this can work here, yes. From first, remember, inanimate matter, then vegetable kingdom, then animal kingdom has a higher level of intelligence. Animal kingdom has a higher level of intelligence than plant kingdom, and it moves. Okay, there's more motion to it. Motor nerve systems involved here now. So then animals, yes, pets. You want to project to any one pet that you might have at home. You might have a cat or a dog or a bird, whatever. Go to your alpha level. Once you're there, imagine you're projecting inside this bird or this cat or this dog, and imagine what you can perceive inside. You can imagine how the heart is functioning, the circulatory system, the digestive system, the brain, the eyes from within, from without, and so on, yes. All of this is done in class, you see, by the instructor. But it's done very scientifically in moving from one step to another with as many exercises and mind training exercises as we know are necessary to establish strong points of reference. From here we go into human anatomy. The human kingdom, okay, is the highest level of intelligence. Now remember that the least intelligent dimension is inanimate matter. A little higher level of intelligence as kingdoms go is plants, then animals, and the highest level is human kingdom. Here we have the highest level of intelligence. It's the easiest dimension to start developing our confidence that we can function here in this dimension, to be able to have things happen and to be able to test them out in the laboratory and to prove to yourself that this mind really gets into this dimension and causes effects. We meet halfway. With animals, we go a little further. With plants, we have to project a little further. With inanimate matter, we have to project all the way. We don't meet along the way. It has no intelligence to meet us halfway like the human kingdom has. So if we were to develop our confidence, our way of functioning with these new faculties, we want to establish the use of these faculties in the dimension that's easiest to function in, and that's the human kingdom. In metals, we have to make a previous impression, objective impression, before we can project into the mental dimension and do likewise. In plants, we need to impress what we're going to project into first, objectively with the left brain hemisphere. Then we transfer it, when we're at our level, from the left brain hemisphere dimension to the right one. Then in animals, the same thing. So what animal are we going to use to practice with? Maybe a cat that I have at home. Maybe a dog that I have at home. Now, once we have established points of reference in the left brain hemisphere, it's a lot easier to transfer from the left to the right. So here then, if it's a tree that I have at home, or maybe my neighbor has next door or whatever. But when we reach the human level, we want to select a friend that we know very well. Then we use that friend of ours in our mental dimension to analyze him from without and from within. You see, you can start experimenting with plants. It's the easiest thing to experiment with. With the right brain hemisphere, we correct problems from within, remember? We alter the fundamental dimensions. With the left one, we alter the outer dimensions. So then we can get a plant that we know we have at home. Maybe, let's say, an onion plant, 5 inches tall. We have seen it. It's in our garden. I'm looking at it. And I select that one to project to mentally. Now, I go to my level, the alpha dimension. I have a previous point of reference on the left brain hemisphere, that onion plant that's in my garden, that one that I selected. I transfer it to my right brain hemisphere and imagine it growing faster than the others. I want to imagine it being twice as big as the others. It grows twice as fast. And you know what happens? Onion plants will develop their flower and seed in about 12 to 13, 14 weeks at the most. This one that I've selected is going to do it in half the time. I somehow projected power of the mind that stimulated that plant to grow faster. But I visualized it happening, and imagine it happening in the world of the mind. So it has to happen first in the world of the mind. I imagine it twice as big as the others. So it's going to take half the time to develop as the others would. And this is what actually happens. You can practice at home and prove it to yourself. Well, in case of an experiment for a beginner, I would recommend select 2 onion plants. Number 1, number 2, and project only on one, and the other 2 will be for the controls. One will be the experimental, and the other will be the control. Now you can compare with the control. If you're projecting to plant number 1 and not to 2 to grow faster, end results would be that plant number 1 develop a flower and seed it in 6 to 7 weeks, and plant number 2 will do it in 14 weeks. Now, if you have a previous impression of a person who is sick and you know what's wrong, you can imagine the person getting better in the future, and you're helping that person get better with your imaginative powers or faculties.